are you today?
Good morning.
All right, we're just gonna go over the homework and go through it step by step together because a lot of you guys struggled. No big deal, and that's partly slash mostly because of my poor instruction. That's okay, no big deal. Here, let me share my screen. And guys, we do have a lot to cover today, but I'm going to try to, even if we spend the first hour of just catching up on homework, I am good with that. So I'm going to try to slow down and go through it slower. So if how do you guys want to do this? Because I can go through the whole thing all at once, or I can go through part one. And if you guys had issues, or you're like, oh, he actually did it a better way. If you guys want to take 5 minutes and make changes, or like once we hit part two or part three, do you guys want to do it that way there? Because I'm hoping by 10 o'clock we're all caught up. Because I definitely want all of us to add our back end and commit this to Heroku and push this live. So that's the goal, basically, with your final project. So for you guys to get your completion certificate, all that fun stuff, I want you guys to be able to do that. So what's the best way to do that? I can go through this, myself from front to end, and then then we can pause and you guys can work on it a little bit, or we can pause during each part.
I think it's hard for you to part.
Okay, are you guys good? Okay, we'll do that. That sounds wonderful. So, okay, you guys should be seeing my screen here. So let me pull up the repo. This is OK Coders Angular. Is that what we're teaching? Angular, okay. Okay, I should have part three. Okay, awesome, part three. So my GitHub comment isn't accurate. Okay, so our homework was basically we're just going to create a blog. And part one is just setting it up, having some of our components. So let's just dive into that. So, and Elaine, I might have you mute out because it sounds like you're like being attacked by mosquitoes or something. I guess that is the rain there.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay. So here, I'm going to do this under Classroom. Actually, this is going to be the only Classroom thing I do, so I'm not even going to put this under Classroom. I'm just going to put it in just the root of week 4. So I'm going to do ng new project. I'm going to call this blog. So no one should struggle with this. we are going to add routing here, and I will, because some of you guys are limited to only CSS, just use CSS. No big deal. Then while that's setting up, so here's my blog, and let me make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, so we have our app module is going to have all of our components, which we don't have any components, and then our app routing controls where these things, what front end route to what components essentially. That's what our app routing does. So I guess technically we have to wait for all this. Okay, so pretty anticlimactic here. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to go into my blog. So this is my whole application here, especially under source. So okay, so I'm in here. I'm going to go ahead and create my components first. So I'm going to do a ng generate component. I'm going to create my article. Actually here, I'll create my, home. And then we're going to have an about. So let's get those two pieces working and routed, and then we'll worry about article list and article detail. So I added those two pieces. Angular is awesome, and it'll add these things for me. So I'm going to just copy my components, my imports, to my app routing. Because basically, if I don't copy them in here, I can't reference them inside of my routes array here. So here, I'm going to do my path. Actually, I'm going to just do home is going to lead to component, home component. We're going to do the same thing for about, and that's going to lead to my about component. And then I want my default path to redirect to home. So I want to do redirect to, let's try this, to whack home. There's something in there, match full, something like that. I don't even know if we actually need that or not, so I'm going to try it without. So this is the fun part of live demos. We're going to see if this actually works or not. So we're gonna do a ng serve here. Let me kill these other pieces. Oops, sorry guys, I have other crap running here. So okay. And if you ever get this error, that means that something else is already, you're ng serving on something else. Chances are you're just running the same project twice, especially if you're using VS Code with a whole bunch of terminals. Cheryl?
Yeah. Yeah. I found out that one the hard way.
Okay, so we have our wonderful blog, and actually looks like we have an error here. What did I do? Invalid configuration for path, blah, blah, blah. Oh, please provide path match. Cool. I actually didn't know that. So, path match, I guess we actually do need that. So, and I think full is what we need.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, oh, look at that. Okay, so that's really good to know that if path match is actually required. So, I've always cut and paste my routes from previous projects, so... Okay, so we have these pieces. We're going to now clean up a little bit. So we're going to first go into our app component, and I'm going to remove everything except my router. So now I see, home works. Awesome. If I go to about, I should see about works. Fantastic. And we see that this is a serif font still. So this is how I know that I don't, excuse me, that I don't have Bootstrap, right? So real dead giveaway because Bootstrap doesn't have the little serifs, the little ends on the fonts. So it's a sans serif font. So let's go and get Bootstrap. Okay, and Google is awesome. I'll correct everything. And ideally, I'm just going to link it. We talked about putting this into our Angular.json. I'm just going to do this the quick and dirty way for now, and then once we purchase to Roku, we might roll back and correct this. So, okay. So that's in here. So now I should have, look at that, sans serif font. Okay, so Bootstrap is live. So now that I have Bootstrap, I can go ahead and start formatting some things. And one more thing that I wanted you guys to do is set up the navigation, right? So on the top or the bottom or wherever. So I'm going to go ahead and create my nav component now as well. ng generate component nav. It could be called menu, whatever. These component names, none of them are special. Nav has no special meaning. So it could be side nav, top nav, menu, map, whatever. Okay, so we have our navigation now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, since this is Bootstrap, we always need a container. And now I'm going to do a div class row. And what I'm going to do is essentially create one column for my navigation and then the rest for my actual view, for my router outlet. So probably a col 2 is fine. Now we'll do this as a small, so that way on mobile it'll collapse. We'll see if that's a good idea or not. So app nav, we'll go there. So okay. Well, that's actually not what I expected at all. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was zoomed in. Okay. Awesome. So that works. Okay. So far, does anyone have any questions? So far, so good. Okay. Seth, you're responsible telling me if anyone there looks lost and they're just too shy to tell me. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's set up our navigation now. So I'm going to go into my nav component here, and I'm going to rip all this stuff out. So, and essentially for our navigation, I could just do this. I will do this as the Bootstrap way. We'll do a UL in here. We'll do a LI, and for each one of these LIs, I'll go ahead and do anchor. And remember, since we're using a SPA, a single page application, we're not using href anymore. I can do, oops, if I spelled this correct, right? href home. Let me show you guys the difference. Just, I believe I explained this well on the last class, but then that's never the case, so I'm going to explain this one more time. If I do something like this, and this is actually going to look ugly because it's not styled. But whenever I click on home, it will indeed go home. But look, my entire page reloads, right? This is not a single page application because I can clear this out and I can click on home and I just loaded 4.1 megs. I click on about and I loaded another if I do preserved log, basically I'm loading another 4.1 megs every single time I click around. Oops, I don't know why I didn't click. So yeah, 8.1, 12.2. So this is, killing some of these mobile data. So your users will not be very happy with you. And this completely circumvents what single page applications do. So we want, instead of reloading the entire page, because this is me clicking on these things is the equivalent of me going up in the URL and changing it, right? So that causes everything to reload. So we want Angular to handle our redirects. So the way that we do that, instead of using a href, is we use router link. And router link, Angular will actually turn into a href. It'll do all this stuff automatically. So if I mouse over, I see that that's actually where it's going. So it's essentially the same thing. But notice that now there is nothing gets loaded, right? So whenever this thing loads the first time, 4.1 megs, I can click around as much as I want, and I'm not reloading anything else. So now it is a true single page application. Everybody good so far here? Yeah, and if I right click and inspect, I see that it still has a href whack home, but Angular catches that, and I actually don't know the under the hood mechanics of how it does that, but it somehow just adds a listener on, so when you click on it, it navigates for you. So it actually doesn't do the href. So they just do the href, so you can always right click and do open a new window, because if you didn't have a href in there, you wouldn't be able to right click and open a new window. Okay, and we're doing good on time. So here we're also just going to go ahead and set up our article list and article detail, and then we should be good. So let's go ahead and create those components. Sorry, go ahead.
Cersei, I didn't do mine in the nav component HTML. I did all that in the app component HTML.
That's okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's totally fine. The nav just with Angular, everything is based on components. Just because components make it really easy to organize things. Because whenever the reason you want to put it inside of a nav component, it may not make sense now because it seems like it's just an extra step. But whenever you're doing something mobile, you may want that menu to show or hide, or on mobile be displayed somewhere else completely. And before, I used to do the same thing. I used to just have it in my app component, and I would end up with 2 copies of my navigation because mobile required me to have it presented differently. So instead of having 2 copies, you just have 1 component, and you just call that component twice. Does that make sense?
Well, do I need to take it out of that component?
If you want, you can leave. So my goal, guys, isn't for you guys to code this exactly how I want. I actually don't care if you do it the way I want, as long as at the end of this, all of us have a blog on Heroku that we can navigate, we can add articles to, we can view articles. That's all I care about. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing whatsoever. I'm just giving you my suggestions from, my years of experience. So you can take them with a grain of salt. That's okay.
Well, I want to do it the right way.
Yeah. Ask Seth. There's the right way, and then there's the Sergi way. That's the going joke. So.
All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No problem. So we're gonna generate our article list, and then we're gonna generate our article detail component. So, and the reason why we're doing 2 separate components for this is we want to display our articles on our page in a list form. Because imagine we have 10 articles, we don't want to display all the copy, all the HTML on one single page. All those images, because that's just gonna get way too long, and it's gonna be difficult to navigate. So we're gonna have just a summary where we can click on one and it will go into a detail. Have you guys ever been on a blog site that the articles are all just on one page, and that this page just keeps scrolling forever and it's impossible to find things? Yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid. So let's go ahead and, oh, actually, we just need one navigation link for our articles. Okay, and now we just have to add this into our app routing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy my two imports from my app module into my app routing here, and I am going to create my articles, and that's going to go to my app list. And at the same time, I'm going to create my articles detail, which is basically the same exact thing, but I'm going to have a placeholder for the ID that you're navigating to. So does this make sense to you guys? Because we covered this in the last class. I just want to make sure that you guys understand this. Because we've seen colon ID or colon with some kind of param name also on the back end. So don't confuse those two things, because the back end and front end both use that kind of format, but they're very different. So if I go to articles, I'm going to see my article list. But if I go to articles whack, whatever, I should be at article detail. So, and I think this is actually the end of part one. So I'm actually not going to take the time to add, all the static images and text and stuff. You guys can pretend I'm a awesome designer and I'm really interesting and all that fun stuff. So I won't actually do that. What questions do you guys have on this?
We don't need routing for the nav, do we?
No, because it's always displayed. It's not actually part of your. So if we look here, and that's an excellent question. If we go look in our app component, our nav sits outside of our router outlet. So it is always present. A router outlet controls whatever URL you're at. That's the component that gets injected into router outlet. I mean, just bring this home. If I actually create another route here called nav, and I actually do nav component, I should be able to import this. So doing something like this would just look weird, because then it's weird. I not say. Oh, I'm sorry. So here I can just go to whack nav now, and I'm just going to see my navigation is always there, and now my router component has my navigation. So
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and this is something, guys, I should have taught you guys a little bit better about, because some of you guys started work on your project and you got to part 2 or part 3 and you ended up breaking it and you had no way to go back. So I've meant from the first class to teach you guys more about Git, and I've kind of failed at that, so I'm going to do that now. My project here, whenever I did an ng new, it automatically turns into a Git repository. So if I do a Git status, I will see that, I have stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm actually inside of my week 4. Okay. Here, let me do this, because your guys won't be inside of a week 4. So I'm going to actually just move my entire project here. And I just made this more difficult. Basically, my Angular directory here is a Git repo, is a Git repository. So Angular does not automatically create a Git repository for my blog. So that's not a big deal. I think I could be able to just do a Git init in here. Okay, awesome. So I can do that. So basically, I can go ahead and create a separate repository here, and I'm just going to do just add everything in here, and this essentially will allow me to save. So I can do a git commit. I'm going to commit everything, and my message is going to be part 1 done. So, and now if I do look at my log, I can see that my part 1 is done. So if I ever screw something up, I can always go back to this point in time. So if toward the end of class, if we have time, I'll definitely show you guys more about Git. So that's my failure. We have so much material to cover, it's really hard to pick what's useful and what's not. So, okay, part 1 is done. Any other questions on it? You guys are good? Oh.
On the redirect part, on the path match,
Uh-huh. That is totally fine.
Okay.
That is totally fine. That's another way to do it. This here, it just redirects the URL, because if you do it that way, then there could be on the home component, but your URL won't say home, right? It would actually just be blank, and sometimes it's harder to figure out where you are. So it achieves the exact same purpose, so not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions on part 1? Okay, so let's dive into part 2. So part 2 was viewing articles. So this is where I should have done a better job of... Okay, so we're going to connect the backend database, the next step, but we still need a way test. We'll need to create a stub. So, okay, I said we were going to do this. We actually didn't do this here in the next step, so I totally lied to you guys. So that's my mistake there. So we're just going to create a stub right now for this. And a stub is basically something that just pretends to be a backend, or pretends to be another service, or it just pretends to be something that's not. So it's usually a much simpler version of whatever it's pretending to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's create our article service. And guys, do you understand why we're creating article service? I just want to take a step back and make sure that we understand this. Our article service, we're creating this because both of our list article, our article list, our article detail, and then finally our article edit will all try to make changes to the articles. They'll all need like a get articles, get article, save article. And if we don't have one central place like article service, that means we're going to be creating those functions 3 different times. So, and article, basically a service lets you merge all those in one place. And if we were doing something in memory, we actually wouldn't even be able to do this without a service, because each component would have their own copy of the articles array, and we wouldn't be able to save anything and make changes to it. So does that make sense?
It does make sense,
Yeah, a service, it sounds fancy or whatever. All it is something that's shared, like functions or data that's shared across your entire application. So that's all a service is. So, okay.
I understood the purpose of it. I just didn't quite get how to link everything together. So I'm excited to see it.
So let's go ahead. We're going to create our service. Let's make sure I didn't move anything. So good. So I'm going to go ahead and do an ng generate service article. And it creates me the spec file. We're just going to ignore that. We're just going to worry about the TS file. So, and I'm going to copy paste my really spectacular articles there. And here's my service. So, and right now, this here, like once we move this to the back end, which we'll do together, that wasn't part of your homework, we will get rid of this articles array. So this is just our temporary fake articles, right? So I should have actually called this like fake articles, something like that, to make it really clear that this isn't what we're actually going to use. So, and what we need now is a way to access our articles, right? I could do something like inside of my article service, I could just say articles equals articles, and then I could use article service.articles, and I could access this here. So generally you don't want to do that. Generally you want to have functions that allow you to basically control what kind of access goes to your articles array. So does that make sense? No? Okay. Well, that's okay. Here, we'll go ahead and show... I'll show actually both of them, so just to make sure that you guys understand. So get articles, we talked about all it's going to do is return our articles array. So I could just do return articles here. Articles. And this will completely work, but then I'm going to use this, and notice that articles, it returns an array immediately, so it doesn't return a promise or anything. So later, whenever we connect our backend, I would have to change my article list and article detail to use a promise instead of using a direct value. Sorry, guys, ignore all these. I'm debugging an application. I promise you I'm not this sick and I don't have that many medical results coming in. That's a test that's going on. Okay, So here, let me just show you the difference between both versions, and then we're gonna do this with the promise. But I just want to show you because some of these things I'm asking you guys to do a certain way, just so you don't fall into those pitfalls. Some of those pitfalls are a great learning lesson, but sometimes it's better just to avoid them. So okay, so let's go into our app list now. So if I go into my app list, I am basically going to inject my article service here. So I'm going to say private article service with a lowercase a, or I can just call it service. It doesn't. If I have one service, I can just call it service. It doesn't really matter. Article service. I'm going to have VS Code is awesome. It'll automatically import it for me, and then I'm going to have a local articles method on my class. So, and I'm actually going to get rid of my ng on init, just because we don't need it for anything. And then inside of my constructor, what I'm going to do is say this.articles equals article service.get articles. So articles is going to be, it's going to essentially just end up being my array of articles, right? And then in my markup here, I can go ahead and do a table. I'm going to do make this kind of pretty here, class table. I'm going to do a tr here, and my tr I'm going to go ahead and do an ng4 on. So let article of articles, and then finally my td is going to be my article.name, and then I'll do my summary. I'll throw data in here in a little bit. Okay, so let's see what I have. So if I go to articles, I see, awesome. So I see I have a couple of them, but I have no data in there. So let's see where I went wrong. So if I look at my article service, I'm using, okay, so I suck. So I have just title. I don't have a summary or a name. So I just have title and body. So okay, this is good. So I'm just going to use title here, and we're not going to have the body or anything show up. We're just going to have just the title show up. Okay, much better. So far, so good. So now I want to make these things. Well, actually, sorry. Let me go back before we do that and explain now. Once we go ahead and change our change this to use a backend, get articles will have to return a promise because it's something asynchronous, right? We are waiting on a backend, so we can't immediately return results. So basically, it would end up returning a promise. So if we fake that promise right here, then we would have to go back and change all of our code. Notice that this thing here is no longer an array, right? So we would have to change the way that this works. And we would have to say article service.get articles.then my articles array that's returned. And we're going to say this dot articles equals articles. And I can go ahead and do a console.log in here if we needed. And let's just make sure that this works again. Okay. Do you guys have any questions here about this? I want to make sure that you guys understand the service and then the promise, why we're faking it that way.
I think that, so if we have the back end, it's basically calling it to the back end, and that's why we need the promise, because we have to wait on it.
Yeah, we're wanting to fake it and make that our stub as realistic as possible, right? Because if we make a stub and it's returning everything immediately, it's not a very good stub because it's not actually representing what the real thing, our real backend is going to be like. Our real backend is not instantaneous. It takes time to read something from a database. It takes time to send it back over. So our actual article service, it will have to use promises. So that's why our stub is using it too, just to fake it.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Okay. Seth, do you have anything to add to this?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, Elaine, are you good with that?
I'm good.
Okay, and Cheryl, you're good?
I don't know.
No, please, guys, this is the time. Do not be shy, because honestly, even when we get done with this 11, by 11, it'll take us maybe an hour to connect the back end, and then it won't take us an hour to push to Heroku, so we can take our sweet time here. So this is the time to ask questions. And we're almost done with this, and we'll stop. And if you guys need to catch up, Elena, then yeah, you can definitely catch up. So
What's in the article?
No. The article service is when we create a function that just says return articles.
Sergey, can we see your
You're
article
fixing-
service file?
Yeah.
I have it right.
so this is my article service here. And I haven't done my get article yet by ID. That's another thing that, sorry, I'm going to click around for a second. That I said that we want to do a get articles. I will show you guys this as well. I wanted to make at least something in class a little bit hard because, like, all these things here, basically, we've done these as in-class examples. It's just putting everything together. But here's the article service here.
I think I get the promise stuff, I think, but what should we be looking for? Like, what should trigger in our mind that we need a promise?
Anytime you don't have the data directly available. So right here, if we never meant to connect this to a back end, we didn't care to make this persistent in a database, then we could just return articles. So, but anytime, like, you should know you need a promise if you need an HTTP service or you need to talk to something that's not in your code immediately, something that could have a delay.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. And Seth, you're helping Cheryl?
We almost got it.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, article.
I'm also still a little unclear on the constructor, like what that purpose is versus the rest of the file.
So the constructor, this is what runs immediately. So whenever a service or anything is initialized, the constructor is the very first piece of code. Notice that everything else, like, we call sometime later. If I add, so here, let's do this.
Yeah, I didn't know where to put it. I'm just like, okay.
that should work.
Now, can I see if this works?
So I'm gonna add just a bunch of console logs in here just for you to see this, because it's a really good question. So, and then I'm gonna add one more console log inside of here, inside of my actual article service.ts. I'm gonna just say inside article.service.ts. So you guys can see when these things come up. So if we look at my console log, I noticed that my inside article .service.ts runs immediately before Angular even loads. So this is just, Angular loading the JavaScript. It's going to execute what it sees, right? But then I see article service gets executed, and then get articles. So the reason that this is here is if you needed to add more fake data. See, like right here, Elena, what I could do is say articles.push, and I can go ahead and do another ID for. It's going to complain if I don't have all these fields, so that's okay. New date, and then title. Oh my god. Okay. So I can go ahead and make basically changes to things. So now I have that one in here. So it is just a way. And this constructor, Elena, this runs exactly once. So this will run exactly once, no matter how many times it's injected into different components. That constructor runs exactly once every time Angular loads.
Okay.
So, okay. Do you guys have any other questions here? Before we move on. Okay. So, Linda, Cheryl, you guys are good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to wire up our article detail now. So I think this is where you guys had a little bit of trouble. Oh, I did show you guys this. Okay. The article detail. So let's go ahead and wire that up. So right now we can go through our articles. About, home. Okay, awesome. So all that still works. And we just need to make these things clickable. So let me close a couple of these windows here because I have way too many open now. So my article list, we're going to go ahead and on my TR, and this doesn't have to be on the TR. I can make it, you have to click on the title. So it doesn't really matter where we put this. Usually you click anywhere on the row, it will lead you to it. We can make it, you click just on the title. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to say here, my router link is going to be whack articles, whack, and now I want my actual article ID, right? So I'm going to say my current article dot underscore ID because we're faking what, remember with MongoDB, it's a underscore ID by default. So that's what we're going to use. So later, as soon as we connect our backend, all we'll have to do is change a couple lines in our service and we won't have to touch anything else in our application. So that's why we're doing it this way. And it seems a little bit weird, but I promise you it makes it really, really easy. Because later, if you guys wanted to connect, I don't know, some other database service to it, or you want to use Python instead of Node, you would have to just change it in one place, and that's it inside of your article service. So here, if I save this now, I should see these things here. I can click on it, and it goes to articles whack 2. The first one should be articles whack 1. Articles whack 3. Okay, so now what we need to do is display the article that has an ID of 3, right? So I think this is where some of you guys struggled because I left this probably a little bit. I wanted you guys to have a little bit of a challenge.
Mission accomplished.
So let's go in here, and again, I'm going to rip out my ng on init. This is just because we're not going to need it here, so I just think it confuses things. So I need to first get whatever article, get this ID, right? And if we look at our app routing, I see that property is called, that param is called ID. So and inside the homework here, I said that we can just use activated route. So this is just another service that we can inject and use. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And now I'm going to inject this in my constructor. So, and I didn't explicitly tell you guys this. So I'm hoping that you just Googled activated route and you would see 100 examples for this here. So inside of here, now I'm going to say my var ID. This is kind of this crazy looking thing, is that your activated route, it actually can return something called an observable that says anytime the URL changes, let my component know. We don't care about any of that. We just care about what the ID is at that point in time. That's why it's called a snapshot. And param map just says that this thing here is just going to return one value for me. So, and finally here, I'm going to do a console.log here, and I'm going to say that we're in my article detail component, and ID equals blah. So now I should be able to see what my ID is now. So, okay, ID equals 3. So now what we need to do is, inside of our article service, be able to get the ID with 3. And also, guys, notice that this thing here, our ID is a string. It's not numeric, right? Our data, our IDs were numeric. So, and our route is returning it as a string. So just keep that in mind. So what we're going to do is inside of our article service, we're going to create one more method here called getArticle, and we're going to pass an ID. And I could use underscore ID here. It doesn't really matter what we actually call the parameter. So I don't want you guys to get hung up on the underscore ID versus ID. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So how do we get the article that has one specific ID? How do we do that, guys? Do I need to start picking on people? So, okay. Linda, we'll start with you, since you're the first one on my screen.
How do you get the article that has one ID?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was our beginner. So this has nothing to do with Angular, TypeScript. This is just going to be good old-fashioned JavaScript, right? So if I clear this out and I paste my articles in here, how can I get the article that has a specific...
Okay.
So remember, we're just dealing with an array, right? In arrays, remember, you have find, filter, flat for each, concat, length, join.
Yeah, I didn't even think to go there. Okay, so we're looking for find.
Yep, exactly. So how does find work?
Okay, so we're gonna find, so like, and then find article.
So remember, what is predicate? Predicate is a function that you pass that returns truth whenever the first one is found. So if we actually look, and this is really good, guys, because I don't want you guys to have to remember all this. I want you to know how to look it up. So if we just do MDN array find, or actually if I just even type in array, array.find without MDN, I'm sure that's the first one up. Yep, MDN would be the first thing that pops up. So we can click on this and I can see that it shows me, okay, here's an array and it's trying to find one that is greater than 10, right? So find, the predicate is a function. So that's all it is, and I don't know why they didn't use ES6 here, but that's okay. And it's basically a callback function that just returns true or false depending if it's found. So what does our function look like?
If the article dot underscore ID equals.
So first thing, we have to create our function, right? So it's going to be fat arrows. So I'm going to say article because that's what I want my temporary variable to be. Or A, it doesn't really matter. So, and then what is the rest of it in here? You said?
Yeah, so article dot underscore ID
Equals, and like we'll say 3, right? It doesn't matter. So this is how we would find the third one, right? And then notice this returns the third article. If I want to find the second article, I would just pass in 2 here, right? So this is a really good thing to remember, guys. If you're ever kind of lost in the code, simplify and get out of this. This context here can be a little scary to try to figure this out, because if you try to test this code in here, you have to make sure that get articles being called correctly and everything. Open up a Chrome console tab, and testing it is the best way. I still do that constantly. If I have even a single doubt, I'm going to throw the code in here, test it in just an isolated context, and then once I see the pattern, I see how it works, and then I will put it in here. So okay, Linda got us to article.find. So Cheryl, take us home with get article.
What now? The get article?
Yeah, so what goes inside of my get article body now?
Would you have the dot then in there? I don't know.
Well, yeah, so we'll do the promise.resolve. We'll do that here in a second. We'll just do the non-promise version. So let's take this out of here. We'll just write inside of right here, Cheryl. If we wanted to write a function called get article and an ID, what does my function look like? What does this look like?
Well,
I'm going to return.
you're going to have to return that. This ID, I don't know.
Well, yeah, remember we just did this with articles.find, right? So we're going to do the exact same thing here, because now we're just turning this into a function. So we're going to do the same thing, articles.find, where my article._ID is going to be equivalent to, and here, notice I'm going to use 2 equal signs. So if this is a number and this is a string, it'll still work.
Oh, okay. So we don't want to do the equal.
A strict, yeah, if I do a strict equality, I would have to cast this to a number, which is totally fine. I could say triple plus ID.
Like that, yeah. I'll just say we do.
So it doesn't really matter how we do that. But if I write this function now, I should be able to call get article of 1, and I get my first article. Get article of 2, I get my second article. Get article of 3, my third. Get article of 44 doesn't exist, right? Undefined.
Okay.
Are you guys with me so far?
Yes.
So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to copy this code verbatim, paste it in here. So this is almost what we want, but remember, we want get article to return a promise. So to return a promise, all we're going to do is wrap it inside of promise.resolve. So I can go ahead and just say return promise.resolve. This is getting a little hard to read, so I'm going to instead say var article equals this, and then return promise.resolve of article. So this makes it slightly easier to read, right? So everybody's on the same page still?
Just slow down a little bit.
Okay. Sorry, yeah, thank you. Remind me to slow down.
Sorry.
But do you guys understand why we're doing this? I want to make sure that... Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to code it. I'm getting things.
Yeah, we did this in our first or second week of this course, and we did this, and I don't expect you guys to remember all this, but definitely go back to some of those resources. And that's tough because some of those resources are only in video, so I definitely understand that no one wants to sit through 4 hours of, me talking, so I definitely understand.
No, I think it was, I didn't think to use, I don't want to say basic because it's not basic, but I didn't think to use that. I was thinking of how to be connect, not necessarily just using that tool. So.
Yeah, remember, these are just stubs, right? These are fake functions, and these will be replaced with HTTP calls to the backend. So yeah, so these are very, very temporary. So don't get stuck on how these work, because once we connect our backend to Node and to MongoDB, these things go away and they get replaced with a HTTP.get call. So okay, let me see. Elena, how are you doing? Are you furiously typing, one-handed?
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up a little bit. I think I just have a few weird bugs. I'm trying to add everything.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
So, getting there.
Okay, so is everybody good with this, or do you guys have more questions on this before we?
I got it right. That's how I'm looking.
We haven't called those yet.
No, well, get articles is called inside of article service, but get article is not yet. So
Okay.
do you guys want to pause for 10 minutes? And if you guys had trouble, especially I think Cheryl and Linda both had trouble somewhere around this part. So if you guys want, we can take a break and you guys can get your application working here. Spend 10-15 minutes and get it to this point.
I would love if I could see the code for article detail.
Yeah.
Component. I think that I'm missing something in the constructor.
So we're importing, we're injecting, and then that's how we get our ID.
Right there.
Okay. I got an error that said it looks like that exact thing, but I got an error that said oh, hang on, I think I figured it out.
That. Oh, what? We just changed. It's gotta be working.
Yeah, since you now would see it.
This broke up. Okay, I got it working. Oh. Man, that's that. What is this line? What is that line on? That line.
Linda, how's yours going?
I'm good. I got it.
Okay, awesome. Cheryl, how's yours?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. then Elena's right on the cusp of it, right?
I think I would love if everybody else wants to take a break or something. I just need to catch up.
Yeah. Do you guys want to take a 5-10 minute break? I'd love to run to the restroom. Are you guys good with that?
That's cool.
Okay. Here. Okay. And Seth, you guys are doing okay there? Linda, Cheryl?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
fixing the edit. We're new stuff.
we're working on the edit.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, here. So, Linda, you're good with where you are?
I'm good. I did. This is just like a random question,
Huh?
but are you able to add new components while serving at the same time?
Yep, absolutely. Just open up a new tab and you can do ng, generate component, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
So, okay.
Okay, I'll mute. I'm sure it's loud over here.
So here, since we got Eccentric, I'm sorry, we're not even done with part 2 yet. So we just need to display it now inside of our article detail. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll commit this and we'll go to part 3. So inside of my article detail, I have my code here that if I actually go to it, let me see. So I go to articles, I click on the first one, I should see in the console getting component ID equals 1. So now I just need to get that article and display it, right? So to display it, I'm going to create a local property called article, because this is the article that we're displaying. I actually don't need to set it to anything. I'm just going to create one. And then I'm going to say this dot article component, which I have not injected yet, so let's inject that. So this could be private article service of article service. It pulls in automatically, so I'm going to say this dot article service dot get article of ID, and I'm going to say dot then article this dot article equals article. Okay, so doing this now inside of my article detail component, I should be able to make this look pretty, and I'm going to just do a h1 tag of my article dot title. Then I'm just going to throw in a p tag of my article dot body. So one more thing, guys, this is going to throw a big fat error, and let's talk about why it's going to do that and how to get around that. So I saved this, and ironically, that actually worked the first time. Okay. Well, that should throw me an error because my code's returning this too fast, but if this was from a database, this would actually throw an error because article would be undefined, so we have to just wrap our code here and make sure the article is defined. So I'm going to just throw this in a div and do ngIf article.
You're trying to reference it down here, but it doesn't have access to that. So, what's your...
Because this here makes sure that it exists, because right now the property or its value is going to be undefined, right? So, and it doesn't get defined until this step here, so until get article runs. And we can actually fake this, because I could go in here and do a set timeout to fake it resolving, all that fun stuff. I won't do that now, but... Okay, so if we go through these, this actually works. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not displaying the date. So let's go ahead and just do that, because that was in my original homework. So in my article list, I'm going to go ahead and, so I have a TD, I'm going to have another TD, and this is going to be article.date, and I'm going to just throw this into a date pipe of medium date. So, oops. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. That looks good. I'm actually going to go ahead and just do a class of text right. So it's going to look a little bit more fancy. I click on it, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just show the date somewhere on my article detail. So I'm going to go up here, do div class. I'm going to just do this as a float, right? Of article.date and just a date pipe, and this would be, I guess we'll see what long looks like. I think long contains the, oh, actually that looks pretty ugly, so we'll just do long date. Okay. So here, guys, we actually have everything for part 2 done. Do you guys have any questions on this? Elena, you're good? Okay. Seth, you guys are good?
We're good here.
Okay. So one more thing, guys. I'm going to, because I should have done this a long time ago, is let's go ahead and commit this. Seth, could you show them, like, I guess I'll do a Git crash course probably at the end of class. But now that we've made all these changes, I'm going to just commit everything so we have it saved. So I'm just going to do a git add my source app, and I'm going to just say part 2 done. So now I have that saved. So if I break something, I can always go back to that point in time.
You want to leave that there so I can do it real quick?
Oh, yep. Oh, they won't be able to do git kai for them. Sorry, it's going to be git. You're going to do a git add of just source, and then do a git commit minus m for message of, part 2 done or whatever you want.
Do they need to get init before this?
If it's not initialized, it should automatically be initialized, but they do a git status, it'll show them. If you do a git status, it'll tell you if you're inside of a git repo or not. So Elena, you're already using Git on yours, so Elena's good. But yeah, if you can help them set, that'd be awesome.
Do I need to open up another terminal to do that?
No. Well, this one's
Just do a git init?
you actually need to go up one.
I'm just gonna comment still, right?
Let me know, Seth, when you guys are good there.
Well, I have a question on article detail.
Uh-huh.
I might have missed this. I have to import the article service, right, up at the top?
So you're going to import article service, and you also import the activated route, because the activated route is how you get the ID parameter from the route.
Okay.
So, and you have to inject both of them.
It's
Is
that
there added?
secret.
Okay, what's that?
Okay, so you do not. So you get init. What is it? Okay, so you are in. You see how it's got
I
this
don't know
stuff?
how that happened, but okay.
So you don't have to get it. You just do the add source.
Add source.
Oh, yeah, source. So you get status. Sergey,
Yep.
if it's not recognized, so I'm going to install Git for her.
Oh, we're going to need that for Heroku anyways. I'm surprised she doesn't have Git already installed.
Wait, hold on.
Because I thought everybody pushed something to Heroku before. Well, Seth, let's not worry about Git right now. If they don't have it installed, that's okay. We'll just continue with part 3, and unless you think you can do it quickly.
What part is this? Archie, will you show your screen?
Uh, Sure, what would you like to see? For Git or?
On the git commit, is it the is the dash M and then put what?
Yeah, and then the message for it. Yep. So usually, yeah, if you do a git add, you don't have to do a. Usually, if you just change files, you would have to do a git commit minus a for all, and then minus m for the message. But if you do a git add, You don't have to do the -a. I'll Slack like a tutorial for Git later. I just want you guys to have a place to save this. Git is really the basics of Git are really easy. Git can get pretty complicated, but for what you guys need, it'll be pretty quick to learn. Okay. How are we doing there, guys?
We are good now.
Okay. Are you guys ready to go to part 3?
Do it.
Okay. Elaine, are you good for that? Okay. I love it. Okay, so part 3. So we have everything showing, displaying. Awesome. So now we want to be able to edit the articles. So originally, I was going to have you guys reuse your article detail component. And I decided to make you create just a separate article edit component. Just because there'll be less confusion. Seth, hopefully that was a good choice.
Sorry, what?
Separating out article edit from article detail instead of having it in one component.
Yeah, it was confusing to me why you did it, but yeah.
Well, I wanted to make sure it wasn't confusing for them of having too much stuff in one component.
I whiteboarded it for them to tell them the right way to do it, but yes, it makes sense.
Okay, hey, we can do it the other way without article. I think everybody's probably done it with article edit, so that's okay.
Yeah, just do it that way.
Okay, so we're going to generate one more component called article edit. And like Seth was saying, usually we do all the editing inside of article detail. I just decided to separate this out because I think it'll be easier to understand. We have clean lines between article detail will display it, article edit will edit it, right? So, okay, so here's our article edit. So what we're going to do now is add it to our router so we can go ahead and hit it from a couple different routes. So I'm going to go ahead and copy my import. Oops, I'm sorry, going to my router here. And I want, we're going to do a couple things. To edit an existing article and then to create a new one. So I'm going to need 2 routes, right? To edit the existing one, I'm just going to say it's going to be that route, whack edit. So this is going to be my article edit component. And then to create a new one is I'm going to basically have you go to articles whack new.
Sergi, what happens if you put the whack new after the whack ID?
That is a great question, Seth. If you do that, then you will end up with going to here with an ID of new. So the order of these things matters. So you want anything basically that could be used as an ID always first. Does that make sense? Because your code, if these 2 are flipped, your code doesn't know what your intentions are. So, okay, so let's try this now. So if I go here, if I go to now whack edit, for number 2, I should see article edit works. Awesome. If I go to articles whack new, I should also see article edit works. Awesome. So now here, I just want to demo this. If I actually flip these around, if I actually have my edit after my :ID, then I go to articles whack new, I'm going to end up with a big fat error. Actually, I don't end up with anything because it's not returned, but article detail component, with the ID of new. So that's obviously not what we want. So the order definitely matters here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start throwing some stuff into my article edit. So essentially here, we're just going to do another ng model form, right? So I know I'm going to use ng model, so I'm going to go ahead and import that here. So import my forms module from @Angular, and this guys has been we've used this all throughout the course, so you could pull this up from anywhere. Common whack form, nope. Just Angular whack forms. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and add it to our import here. I'm just gonna clean that up. Okay, so now inside of my article edit here, we are going to have an article property here, right? And then on my constructor, I need to do the same thing I did with detail, and I need to know what the current ID is. So I'm going to import activator route and article server. So I'm going to basically just copy both of these, and then I'm going to inject both of them because I'm going to need both of them. So I'm actually going to copy the actually, I'm going to just copy all this because I'm going to need little pieces of it. So I'm going to get rid of my ng on init because I don't actually care for that. Okay. So I'm going to change my console.log here. We can actually do this. So we can actually show the current article. So get by ID, whatever the article is, we can actually go ahead and do that. So if we were editing a current one, so if I went to 3 whack edit, this would give me that article. And I mean, let's just see what happens. Let's add our markup for here. So in here, we're going to do form. I guess I should do my here. Whack form equals ng form. This basically just names it. And I guess since we're using Bootstrap, I am going to do a row here. Div class called, we can do 8. And then we're going to do, I guess I could do this as a form group up here. Let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to do a label here. This is going to be my title. And then my input class, this is going to be form control. And my name is just going to be title. And then finally my banana in the box for my ng model. So this is going to be to article.title. So one more thing I do need to do is do an ngIf to make sure article here exists, because if it doesn't exist, all these things would throw a bunch of errors. So let's see what that looks like first. So, okay, title, more of my ramblings, awesome. Let's go ahead and do one for my date and then a text area for my body. So these things here, I'm going to do them as just col SMs, so this will actually look okay on mobile. This is going to be my date. There is some wonky stuff you need to do with date. I'm going to leave the date. I can't leave it as a text. That's fine. I'm going to leave this alone for one second, and we'll come back to it. So then we just need the article body. This is just going to be a text area, class, form control, name, body. Again, my banana in the box for article.body. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. Cool. That looks hideous. That's okay. So my body here, that works. I can go ahead and do some things. I can say that rows equals 20, so it ends up being, gives you an idea of how much stuff I'm actually expecting you to type for an article. Awesome. Okay, so far, any questions on this right here? Okay. So right now, let's go ahead and fix our dates. This is kind of, I'm not sure if I did a good job explaining in the homework of dates with ng model and Angular, but we basically have to do this craziness here where ng model, we're always doing, remember the parentheses means it's an event out, so we're breaking that out into this input, and then the square brackets is something going in, and that's the value, right? So we're actually breaking these two things up. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy these, and instead of my ng model, let's go ahead and actually move rows there. I'm sorry, this is on the wrong one here. Instead of my ng model for my article date, this is going to be article date, and now I just need a parse date function. So in parse date, all it's going to do is just return a new date. So we're just going to throw this in here. Okay, so, and if that worked correctly, well, now it says a string. We just need to go ahead and turn this thing into a type date. Okay, so now I should be able to change these values around. Awesome. So, and then we'll just need a save button, all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and add our save button, and finally let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and do another div. I'm going to do a class of just text center, and then I'm going to do button class btn primary, a nice dark blue, and click is just going to be to save, and this is going to be save article. Okay, so let's add a little bit of spacing. So I'm going to do margin top 4. And actually, let me just make this 10 because that's going to get annoying. That's so tall. Okay. So I should be able to change this, and save article should change or save it. And then if I go back to my articles, I would see the changes here, right? That's ideally what we have. So let's create our save function now.
Can you go back to the parse date for just a
Yeah.
minute?
Oh yeah. So this here, basically just we're separating out how it's displayed versus how that ng model, how it's saved. So that's what that is. And parse date, all it's doing is returning a new date object. We're just taking a string, because basically we want to display the date for our date input as a string. So that's what this is doing here. So remember, if I change this back to text, look what happens. It is saved. Oops, let me go into one of these. It is just, even though it's a date object, it's being displayed as text, right? So if I change this, let me actually, here, to hit this home, let's do this. Article.date. So here, we can actually just see what article.date actually contains. So it's article.date contains. So notice it's displayed as a string, even though this is what it's saved as inside of our article object, right? So if I change this to 17 or whatever, notice that it's still displayed as a string, but we're actually playing with the date object. So, and notice that now it's throwing errors because that's an invalid date, right? So I have to be careful to not break it. So my parse date, all it's doing is returning new date of whatever string is passed. And the reason we just can't do that here is because inside of the markup, we can't use the new keyword. That's just a restriction Angular has. So, and this crazy thing here is just saying that whenever you have an input event, the value of that is going to be $event.target.value. I don't expect you guys to ever remember this. I copy paste this from previous projects all the time. So I wouldn't enjoy writing this from scratch or having to, think through all that. So I don't get lost or worry about that. I have zero expectations for you guys to remember this or be able to do this from scratch. So does that make sense? I hope.
It does. If you could keep it there for just a second.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Here, the parse date.
Yeah, no, not that.
Yes, that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you just Slack both of them?
Yeah. Hey guys, don't forget this is in the homework right here at the very, very bottom. Like both these pieces are verbatim are in there.
Can you Slack the input thing to everybody?
It cut off.
Oh.
And the assignment.
Look.
Want to Slack them the whole thing?
Sure. Better if you guys just pull up the homework assignment. Sure, I will Slack this.
I got it. I'm good now.
Okay. Anyone else need it? Oh, here. I'm gonna Slack it anyway. So. Okay. Those are the. Oh, I forgot this isn't GitHub, so I can't tell you what kind of comment it is. Okay. Okay. Finally, let's get our save button working. So, our save button is basically just going to save this article to our array, right? So let's go ahead and get that working. So save. We're going to need to add one more function into our article service, and that is just going to be a save article. That's going to basically, depending on the article ID, it's going to replace the properties inside of here with that. So we could do this a couple different ways. First, I want to make sure you guys understand why we're doing this. All right, the purpose of this is we can say save article, and I can pass in an ID of 1 and say the title is blah, and it will replace the title here with blah. So what we need to do for this, we can do this a couple different ways. We can basically find the article that we're dealing with in the database just like this, and then just say, article.title equals our new saved article.title. So we can do that really easily. basically here, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is going to be our, I'm going to just call this thing DB article. Actually here, I'm going to call this thing found article. So if it's found, we're looking for article._ID. So, because basically if it's, we only want to do this if it's found, right? So if found article, I want to go ahead and say found article.title equals article.title. And then same thing for the body and the date. So I only have 3 properties here. Not a big deal to just go through these and update them. So if we do this, and let's go back to my article edit and have it use my article service that save article now. So whenever we're saving, we're gonna now here just say this article service dot save. Oh, I called it save. Let's be consistent. I'm gonna call this thing save article because we have get articles, get article, save article. So save article of this article. Okay. Okay, so if we do this now, let's see. I should be able to go in here and change my second post to changed, whatever. Hit save. I don't have any console.log or anything, but then I should go back to my articles list and I should see changed. So that is fantastic. That means it actually works, right? So, but now if I go to whack edit, my changes are gone because Angular completely reloaded. So what I need to do is inside of my article detail, add a little edit link. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, do you guys have questions about this here before I move on?
Well, I'm not there. We need time to catch up.
Okay, well, you guys need to stop me. Jeez, we talked about this. Okay, well, here, let's take a break. Here, let's play a little bit of we're almost done with this, so yeah, this is a good place to stop then. So, do you guys have your article edit created?
Yeah, but I need to get the save here.
Get the what? I'm sorry. Oh, the save. Okay. The save. Remember, our article edit and our save only works for existing articles. We have not added the logic for new articles, so don't get hung up that doesn't work yet. So, what do you guys want me to show you, or Elena, how's yours going?
Just leave it right there. Please.
Mine is good. I kind of just have been along for the ride. I'm trying to digest more than.
Okay. I don't know if you're coding as you go or.
No, I was trying, but I think it'll be better for me to just go back through.
Okay.
Words.
Okay. Sorry, Cheryl. What was your question?
I need to look at the save.
The save articles or save? Elena, you're probably not too far off. You could probably catch up and code this.
Yeah, you're right.
I can Slack you these things. I would really love if we're all caught up for the backend pieces. So let me know. I can just Slack you because you're gonna get probably really far behind on the backend, and it's good.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. Do you want me to just Slack you this?
Yeah.
Here.
You need to be able to go to your article service and add a save function.
Okay, that's the article. Oh, I suck here.
So I need to see if I can save an article. Does that work?
Okay, that's article edit. And article edit.html here. I'll just send you this too, so you don't have to.
Article service and save.
Okay, you're right. I wasn't too far off.
Save those to articles.
I did that. I had the same function. Yeah.
You have a save function in your article service already?
No.
Okay, that's what.
Okay. Well, what is this? Wait, I've got all these. This is red.
Okay, what do you guys want to see? Linda, is there anything? Or are you good with yours?
No, can you go back to the article edit.ts file, please?
Uh huh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Elena, Seth is helping them there in person. So if you need anything, ask me, and I'm here and available if you have questions.
Awesome. Yeah, even just copying this, I've got some kind of huge error. So
Oh well, it's probably what error is it?
it is.
But you created your article detail component, right? You didn't override another component.
No, I have the yeah,
Okay.
or article edit. Yeah. The let's see, template parser. Template parse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you remember to add in your forms module?
Into the edit.
Well, in no, in your app module.ts, remember, because our article edit HTML, it uses ng model, and for that to work, we need to import and use our forms module. So that's probably what your error is.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think I put it in I added it in the routing module by accident.
Oh yeah, so put it in. Yeah, that won't work. Okay, it has to be inside your app module. I was gonna say, could that work? I don't think so.
Obviously not.
Yeah, guys, we're still doing good on time, so let's slow down and get everybody on the same page. Because I promise, like the back end parts, we're gonna go pretty fast through that. There's actually not gonna be that much to it, but I just definitely want to make sure everybody's at the same place, because otherwise it's gonna be kind of brutal getting caught up. And do you have any more errors, Elena?
Nope, I think I'm good. I'm just moving a little slow with my Wi-Fi here.
Oh, no problem. All right. And Seth, how are you guys doing over there?
We are getting it set up.
I love it. Okay.
Okay, and so do I need to put? I think I missed this. Do I need to add like a button or something for edit somewhere?
I've been doing it manually. We were about to do that, but you would have to go to go to article detail and then add in whack edit after it, and that will hit your edit route. Oh, I still have this in there. We have to pull that out, but
Yep. Okay, that's working. I haven't added Bootstrap yet.
oh, go ahead. So here is. Let me just select this to you. Basically, if you paste that into your index.html, that paste it in anywhere in the head of your index.html, that will add Bootstrap, and you're good.
Okay. I was gonna wait to do it the other way, but I figured I'll just.
It's gonna make it a lot easier to follow along if you can see it with Bootstrap.
Yeah. Awesome. That looks much better.
Elena, how's your stuff going?
I'm all caught up. So now I'm just trying to pull over my stuff that I coded yesterday from my broken project.
Oh, okay. Well, remember.
But that's just for fun. So I'm all good whenever you guys are.
Okay. Seth, how are you guys doing over there?
We are going along.
You're still where? I'm sorry?
We're still going. We're getting stuff set up. Did you share your how you want to do saves?
I threw that actually in Slack. My entire
Your article service?
yeah. Well, not my article service. Here, I can do that. Yeah. Here, article service save. So let me go ahead and just paste that in, so everybody has that. So yeah, that save article, that's inside article service. Yes, a little bit cheating because this is all supposed to be homework, but that's okay. I would rather have everybody on the same page and.
Oh, I know. It's happy life. Wait, here's
Seth, is there anything I can help out with?
No, we're just trying to figure out what they're all.
Seth, what do you think? 5 minutes?
Yeah, give us another 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna step away for a second.
And then I need to get the date. I don't know.
Okay. And your save article, I mean, this was in Slack, so.
Yeah, I copied it.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
And okay, inside of your, well, let's do this. Just inside of your article edit component, just add a console.log that says, oops, console.log, article edit component, save. So we can just see that's actually called. You may have just not, you're not calling it on the on click on your button, maybe.
Cool ideas.
Let me check the button.
Okay. Sure.
Should be there. I don't know.
Well, do you see the console.log?
Hang on.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is there. Okay. So it should be saving.
Hang on. Let me check one more thing. Article edit. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
Huh. Okay, so your NG models are all working right because it shows the data. And your links on the side, they are using router link, right? It's not like you're not using href, so you're not reloading the entire application.
I don't think so, but
If you look at your navigation component, nav component.html, you're using router link, right?
nope, I'm not.
Okay.
That's there we go. Just another important.
Yeah, those little details, right? They add up.
Okay. It's averted. Thank you for waiting.
No problem. Okay, and Seth, you guys are still good on your side?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so now let's go ahead. First, let's go ahead and add a quick link to edit our articles inside of our article detail. We're just gonna add a little edit link right here. So article detail. I'm gonna basically do this right after my date. So I'm just gonna do a break in here, and actually I could just do this as a div. That's fine. I'll just do this as a div and do anchor router link is going to equal and it's going to be whack articles, whack article dot underscore ID, whack edit, and I'm just going to say edit in here and then close my div. Okay. So, and if I save this, let me see what this looks like. So now I just have an edit button here. I can click that, and fantastic, it goes into my article edit. I'm going to go ahead and just do a class of text right, because I want that to look a little less crappy. It'll align it to the right. Fantastic. Is everybody good with that?
Okay, yeah, can you hang on just one
Yep.
second? Let's put that on there.
Yeah, you guys don't need to have all the fancy, classes, all the stuff I'm doing, as long as you have the gist of it. I'm not going to judge you if it doesn't look super aesthetically pleasing. It's okay. And then when we're done with this at the end of class here in, less than 2 hours, if you're still not done and you want to make changes, that's totally fine. I can wait to look at it till, in a couple days or whenever you're ready. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I'll let you guys have time to...
I was like stressing out over that. I thought, this is it.
Yeah. Ideally, we all have something to turn in at the end of the day, have something up on Heroku, but we'll see. Okay, so article detail, we have the edit button. Now we just need a way to add a new article, right? So what we're going to do is inside of our articles list, I'm going to just add another, just like we did with the edit button, another add button at the very, very top. So I'm going to basically just copy this router link from my article detail, and I'm going to paste it into article list above my table. And I'm basically just going to, so this is text right. I'm going to do just also, actually I'm going to change it to just float right. And our router link is now going to be articles whack new. Then I'm going to change this to say add article. And you'll see what this looks like. So, okay, I have add article here. Doesn't look very pretty. That's okay. But I should click on it and I go to articles whack new. And you guys are all here, right? Let me know if I need to slow down. Yeah, on my table, I'm going to do just a margin top of 4, just to space that out a little bit. So, oh, that's interesting because that's floated. I won't do that. That's okay. Okay, is everybody good?
Hang on just a second, because my router link for edit isn't even working right now. I think I might have just a little syntax error or something.
Okay, no problem.
Articles. Can I see what that's?
Yeah, an article edit, or I'm sorry, an article detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, the router link is going to be whack articles, whack the expression of article dot underscore ID.
Okay, and then an add button on an article list.
Yep, it's just going to be router link to whack articles, whack new. Okay, everybody good?
Yep.
Okay, Seth, you guys good over there?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so now we're almost ready. What we need to do is we need to do 2 things, right? So here I'm going to close all my open windows there. We need basically when you go to add article, right now we don't have anything that shows up, right? We see article edit component equals null. Well, that's not really helpful. Okay, but we have nothing showing up here because if we look at our article edit component, the HTML, we see this big NGF right now. So obviously if there's no ID defined, then our component here is not going to be able to pull in an article. So we need to do another check here. So whenever we're pulling this up, we're going to go ahead and say here, if ID exists, then we're going to go ahead and load the article through article service. Else it is a new article, right? And I'm going to say this.article equals a new article, and all I'm going to do is set date to be a new date. That's all I'm going to do. Everything else they'll have to fill in themselves. But this is where we can set defaults, right? If I want to set a default title, my next awesome article, I can do that here. So this would set it as a default title. So if I save this, and I look at my code now, I see now, here's the date, and then my next awesome article. I'm going to get rid of this because I forgot that I left that in there for debugging. So article edit, getting rid of that there. Okay, so far so good. So everybody should be able to go to articles and hit add article, and they will end up here.
Can you go back to that for just 1 second?
Yep, right here, article edit. So we're just saying that if the ID exists, load it basically from the article service. If it doesn't exist, create it new. So let me go ahead and say here.
Yeah, actually, if you could just slap that part to us, that would be great.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I love this.
Well,
We did it different.
do you want to? Can we show the other way? I guess. I don't know. I had them do it different ways.
Oh, with if ID is equal to new?
Yeah, I did.
Absolutely. I was going to mention that too. Yep. So inside of our nav component, not inside of our nav component, inside of our router here, articles. Basically, we don't have to do this here. Actually, yeah, we do.
You can get rid of it. Just drop it off.
But then you're going to be in article detail, though.
If you specify on your button when you create article, make it articles wax new, wax edit. It'll work.
Oh, okay. Hey, let's do that. So that's a brilliant idea. So, okay. Seth is saying instead of having two different, sorry, let me go back here. So instead of having articles whack new, we're going to use articles whack new, whack edit, and that will go to our article edit component. And then the ID would just be new instead of blank. So all that means is inside of our article list, we're going to change the router link for our add article is going to be to articles whack new, whack edit, and that follows the same exact structure as this route here, right? So it's articles whack new, whack edit. So then inside of our article edit component.ts, we're going to say here is if ID is not equal to new, right? So now if I look at my code here, if I go to articles, I hit add article, I see that article edit component ID is new. And then we can always change this around. Say if ID is equal to new, then do this. That's usually how. I don't really care how you do it. I probably prefer that way there. You're checking if it's new first. Else, you're just loading it.
Yep, that's what we do.
Okay, I love it. So here, let me change my comments around, and I will just reselect this because I just moved a bunch of stuff on you guys. So if here. If ID is new, create a new one. Okay. Okay, that's close enough. So, oops. Let's go in here. I will edit this out here. Okay. Okay, so everybody's good. Everybody's at the same place here.
Yeah.
So the last thing we need to do is hit save article, and for it to actually save our articles. Right now we hit save article on a new article and it doesn't save, right? And the reason for that is if we look at our article service that save article, here we're checking if found article, right? So what we want to do is throw an else in here and saying that, hey, if it's not found, all we want to do is add it to our articles array. So I can just say articles.push article. So we're missing, article. We're missing one more thing is as soon as we push this, it's not going to have an ID, so we'll never be able to save it or load it. I just want to show you this right now. So I go to articles, I click on my awesome next article, I hit save, I go back to articles, I'm going to see it right here, but if I click on it, nothing happens because it doesn't have an ID property. So I can't even load it because there's no ID for it. So inside of our article service, we have to create an ID. So I'm just going to say that article._ID is going to equal articles.length plus 1. So basically, if here our articles.length is 3, right? And our next article will be 3 plus 1. It'll have an ID of 4. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we save this, we should have now a fully working in-memory application. So I click edit here to add a new one. I hit save. It saves it. I go to articles. I see it here. I click on it, and yay, I can actually go in here and I can edit it. I should be able to change. Oh, we didn't change this back to a date, a type date. But I go back to articles. I see all this working. So that is fantastic. So I am going to go into my article edit and change this to be a type date instead of a type text. article edit component.html here. Yeah, type here. Oops. Is date. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is when it's saved. Right now we don't have any idea that's actually saved, right? Because you just click the button, it doesn't really do anything. So how about when you click save, it just goes back to our article list. First, is everybody here before I continue on?
I don't have the new part.
I am not.
Okay. So let's
I'm having a hard time splitting my screen, so it's kind of hard to follow along.
oh,
A new button in there.
well, let me know, Elena, where you left off at.
Service.
Article service. Okay.
No, I put the article.
Articles dot-
So here we're just doing else, and we're just setting the ID.
Okay.
Yep, and then we're just pushing the article.
Individual article.
Sweet. I was almost there.
Is that right? I didn't.
And then we changed up our HTML, but I missed that too.
Oh, for our article list, we just added whack new inside of there, and then we changed our app routing too. Let me know when you're ready for app routing.
I think I'm ready for app routing. Now I'm super lost. I'm like, what? Oh,
App routing, we just removed our articles whack new, and now we're just using this for new and edit.
okay.
So see if that works. And Seth, are you guys doing good on your side?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay.
Wait, so when we took new out, was that because we changed how to add a new one?
Yeah, we took out articles whack new. Before we had that right here, and we took it out, and we're just using line 15 now for new. Because instead of articles whack new, we're doing articles whack new whack edit.
Okay, so I didn't change that function from the original way that we had it.
Yeah, go ahead and change that so it's all consistent.
Okay. So take out new, and then I'll need to see that other function then.
Which one? Sorry.
It was an if. I can't even remember where it is. I'm like super lost.
Oh, here, let's take a step back. So here in the article list component, the
Article list component. Okay. I'm changing it to.
But see how it doesn't do anything? But if you go to article, it should be in there. So,
Oh, this is just to add. Okay. Okay. Got that.
okay. So now if you try it, you should have something that go to articles, click add article, and you should go to articles whack new whack edit, and it should give you your default text.
And no, it didn't give me that. So that's what I think I changed.
What does your URL say?
So,
Oh. Well, yeah, what does your URL say?
No, I don't have my tape showing.
So that's right, but I think that
Put it in my edit.
now I'm lost about.
So, and I think this is what you missed in article edit component. We added,
Edit. Okay, that's where it is.
Yep.
And I have the old.
yeah, I think I slacked the new one. Let me see.
do another TV.
Yeah, so the last thing I slacked, Elena, that is a new article edit. So,
Dave right here. I saw that.
And that works for me, so I guess I'm caught up. That goes to show that I should just make every change that we make together.
yeah, that's probably a good call. And, Seth, are you guys good there?
Yes, we are good here.
Okay. So the last thing that we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna be done with part 3. Is when you click save article for it to redirect to article list. So that's the last thing that we're going to do. So, so let's do that really quick. Inside of our, so we're going to do two more things. Our save article function inside of our article service. Notice that it doesn't return a promise, right? So it's not returning anything. So we're going to make this return a promise here. So I'm just going to say right at the end of it, I'm going to say just return promise.resolve of article. That's all I'm going to do. So and I'll talk about this later, because basically if we're going to redirect to the list, if we don't wait for the database to save, our fake little database here, then we could get back to the list and it'll display the wrong data. So that's why we're going to add in this promise.resolve. So let me know when you guys have this. Okay, Elena, you're good?
Yep.
Okay, so inside of our article edit component, we're now going to say here, inside of our save, I'm going to say a dot then after article.edit, and this is the new article that it's saved. We don't really care about that, but here we need to do one more thing. We have our activated route as route. We need to now import one more thing called router. So up here, I'm going to add router with a capital R to that same import line, and then I'm going to add into our constructor here, private router is just going to be router. So we're importing it, and then we're injecting it into our constructor. So let me know when you guys have this. So don't get confused. Route is the current route, and router is what lets you go to different routes. Let me know when you guys are here, and how are you guys doing there? Okay, Elena, are you good?
Yep.
Okay, so now inside of our save function, inside of our save article dot then, I'm going to say this dot router dot navigate, and I am going to navigate to, and this is the weird thing, you have to put this in an array. So I'm going to navigate to whack articles, but it's going to be inside of an array, and that's it. That's all we're doing. This dot router dot navigate an array of whack articles as a string.
Oh, it is your sorry.
It's all right. I knew it was somewhere else.
Okay, let me know when you guys are ready. Now I'm being a little nervous on time.
I'm good.
Okay. Seth, you guys good over there?
Almost.
Okay. Well, if we don't get finished in time, that means that there's going to be homework, and I really, really, really don't want to send you guys homework on the very last day of class. Well, homework would be watching a video for us to finish and turn in your assignment. It's not going to be something unrelated, but... Okay, everybody's good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if we go to our blog, if I go to articles, even add article, my new one, hit save article, it shows up here now. So that's really good. I can edit it, change whatever I want, hit save article, and it will show up here. So everybody should have this. And you should be able to go to about, to home, and back to articles, and your changes should be there.
Sorry, can you repeat the instructions?
You just add an article and make sure that it. Second new one. Oops. Hit save article, and you should be redirected to your articles list.
Okay.
You should be able to go in and edit it and still go back to your article list. And you should be able to navigate to about and home and then back to articles, and all your stuff should be there. Because just make sure it's not losing your data. Because remember, if you refresh, it's a single page application, right? In memory. So as soon as I refresh, all my data gets reverted back to whatever my defaults are in article service. So everybody should be good here. Is anyone not good?
You're still testing on.
Okay.
Go to one.
Elena, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, it works?
Yep.
Yay. Yeah, much easier following along, right, than trying to do all this after class?
No, I'm following along.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we'll worry about it.
So, Seth?
We're good.
Okay, yay. Okay. So, everybody, let's go ahead and commit what we have. So, if I do a git status, I just see my new stuff. I'm going to just do a git add source. That's going to add everything that we just changed. And I'm just going to do a git commit -m and say part 3 done. So, we're just going to commit this. So, let me bring that back. So we just did a git add source. So we add everything that is inside our source. You don't even have to do git status. That just shows you what's going to be committed, changes to be committed, and then this is actually what commits it. And we're also doing this git stuff here because we need that to push to Heroku. So this isn't a total waste of time. It's very calculated. Uh-oh, Elena, are you good? You look like you lost your project.
No, I did not lose my project.
Okay.
No. Maybe. Hang on. Okay, so
Yeah.
it wrong.
When you have a second, do you want to explain why when you click on the calendar, it picks the day before?
Why does what?
When you pick the calendar, if you actually pick on the calendar for the date, you drop down, it will pick the day before.
Okay, so this is because this here displays the date, and the way that is saved as a UTC format, so Universal Coordinate Time. So basically, we need to change two more things. If we wanted to fix this, then inside of our article edit, we would need to article edit component here. When we're doing this date pipe, we just need to add colon U. Is it colon UTC here or is it colon true? I don't remember.
I think it's UTC, but
Let's try. This gives it the time zone that you're editing the date in. So here, if I refresh.
using a different time.
So let me see. So if I go to March 1st. Okay, so if I save that, I should see.
Oh, you got
Oh, I don't know which one I was editing. Okay, let's try that again. March 1st, save.
Yeah, it's changing to February 28th.
Okay, so cool. So we need to do one more thing. That's also on our article edit component.ts. This parse date, we need this to return the UTC date, which without moment, I don't remember how to do that. So let's look. So if I do a new date, can I do two? I want to do a new date as UTC though. So let me see. New date. Let's see. UTC. Oh, they have a date.utc. Okay, cool. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's ugly. Can I just do new UTC.date? Sorry, this is a complete tangent here, but let's just... Oops. Oh, so I can't do that. So if I do that... Cool. I will add... So I'll figure this out and I'll comment on that later. So there's a way with using called Moment.js. But for now... yeah, well, let's not worry about the date right now. That's really astute that somebody caught that. We'll fix that. I'll add something at the end of class so that we don't get too far behind here. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, great.
Okay. So finally, everybody has a fully working front end. So now the fun part is, and hopefully we have enough time, we have to go ahead and create our back end for this. So what we're going to do here is, let me close all of these things here. Is now our blog essentially is our entire front end project, right? So I'm going to close all my windows and I'm just going to close my ng serve, and then we're going to move a couple things around. So I'm going to go ahead, instead of doing this in command line, I'm going to do this just using like a Windows Explorer file explorer here. So I'm going to my projects, here, all my stuff. Okay, so here is my blog. This is my front end project, right? So what I'm going to do is rename this blog to just be client, because this is my front end. So now I haven't moved any files around. I just renamed it from blog to client. So everybody with me?
Yeah.
Then we're going to create one more folder now called blog, and I'm going to move client into it. So normally here we would create another server directory, but because we're pushing this to Heroku, we're not going to do that. Our server is going to live inside of this blog directory. So all of our server stuff will be right here, and then client will be in its own directory. And I've tried to make Heroku work with like a separate server directory, but when you upload it, it looks for a package.json in the root, and it is a beatdown to try to force it to do that. So this is the easiest way. So just don't get confused on that. So everybody is here now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now if we go back to, go into VS Code, you should just be able to refresh, and you should see blog, and now all your code just got moved into client, so nothing scary, right? So now what we're going to do is, back in our blog directory.
I had a quick question. Is
Yep.
there a way to refresh in Atom?
There should be like a little refresh icon there. Seth, you use Atom. Is it?
It's pretty instantaneous, though.
Yeah, or if you right click, I don't remember. I used to use Atom, but I don't recall now if there's a refresh. There should be.
Close the project folder and then pull it back open again. So.
Yeah, you could do that. That's less fun, but... Okay, everybody's good right here then?
Yes.
Okay, Elena, you're good? Okay, so what we're going to do is from a command line now. So we're inside of our blog where our backend is going to go. I'm going to do now, I'm going to type a npm init minus y. So this is going to create a package.json for me, and that minus y is just going to use defaults for the project name and everything. Project name will just be whatever my folder name is blog, right? So I hit enter, and I see it creates a package.json for me with this stuff in here. So everybody's here, right?
Yeah, me too. Just a second.
All right, we're good.
Okay, Elena, you're good?
Just a second.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Yep, I think I'm good. Yep.
Okay, so now we know that our project is going to need Express. So we're not even going to connect Mongo yet. We're just going to connect Express to it. So we're going to do a npm install --save. So it saves it to our package.json, and I'm going to say Express, and then at the same time we're going to do body parser, which remember body parser lets us parse post requests. So Express install --save Express. I'm sorry, npm install --save of Express and body parser. So now if we look at our tree, now we have, we have our blog, we have our client that has our Angular project in there, we have node modules in there, we have package.lock or package-lock.json and package.json. So the last thing we want to do is everybody good here? Okay, Elena, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our server file. So I'm going to right click on blog, and I'm going to go new file, and I'm going to just call this server.js. So we know this is what's serving our code. So now we're going to create our, we did this probably a dozen times together. You did this probably a dozen times as homework. We're going to create a new Express application. So I'm going to say const express equals require express.
So they're not going to have a server folder. They just
No server folder. They're just going to have a server file. Because we're pushing this to Heroku, we can't have a server folder, unfortunately. So
cannot have a server folder. Server.js.
Okay, so I'm gonna go outside.
Drag it to it.
yeah, Cheryl, that's why I didn't want you to jump ahead because I knew you had to move stuff around. So, but that's okay. This should be easy to move around. So, okay, we're gonna load Express. We're gonna go ahead and just load our body parser now. So we're gonna require a body parser. Body parser equals require body dash parser. Let's create our actual Express application. So const app equals Express. We're gonna say app.use body parser dot JSON here. And then finally, we're going to say app.listen. And we're going to listen to, remember, if we can hard code this on a specific port, like 8000 or whatever. But the problem is that Heroku might listen to a different port. So we're going to leave this like this just for right now. So we're going to listen to port 8000 here, okay? But we'll change this here in a little bit to be more flexible. So we have listening here, and finally, let's add our actual our routes. So far, none of this should look mysterious or foreign, right? You guys all remember this from a month ago?
Yep.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let's go ahead and add a console.log and just say blog server listening. So we'll throw that in there. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and add our route. So what we want is we want our server to listen to WAC API, WAC articles, and get us a list of articles, right? So we're going to do app.get on WAC API, WAC articles. And remember, we have our request and our response. And here, we're not going to bring in MongoDB just yet. So we're going to do this, and we're just going to basically take our fake articles from our article service on the front end and bring it in here. So a lot of that stuff that we were doing inside of article service, we're going to now move into our server. So basically this here are a list of articles. I'm going to cut that from my article service, and I'm going to just paste that right here. Okay? So, and then we basically need a couple functions to get the article, save article, all this fun stuff. I'm actually going to copy this stuff verbatim. So I'm going to just do a Control-C here, and we're going to paste it right here. So we're going to have, and obviously this was inside of a class, so we didn't need the function keyword. But yeah, no problem. So here, let's back up to just moving articles over. Everybody's good with this?
No. So, what all did you bring over from the service?
All I did is move articles, our array of articles. I'm going to just cut that out of our service, and I'm just going to paste that into here.
Okay.
So how about, well, okay, instead of moving this stuff, I can just retype it if you guys want. Because all we're doing is taking our get article and save article, and we're moving that to the server side. That's all we're doing.
Okay, that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure we were correct.
Yeah. Is everybody good with this here? Okay, we'll just do one at a time. I'm going to do just get articles. So I'm going to take get articles, and I'm going to copy it because we're going to still need the body of it. But I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm just going to add the function keyword in front of it. So that is all I need to do. Oops, and I need to spell function correctly. Wow, okay, function, get articles. So this is what our backend server looks like. So, and we can, guys, not even change our front end. We can, leave articles in there so nothing breaks. That's totally fine. But this is what our backend needs to look like. So you're just pulling both of these things from your article service. Let me know when everybody is here.
I've got it.
Okay. Cheryl, Linda, you guys are good?
I got it. Get the function, get article.
Oh, you're talking about just typing it. I mean, that's what it's going to be like.
Sergeant,
Yep.
for me, am I gonna have to put that cores in there?
For you, yes, because we haven't even got there yet, so don't worry about that just yet. But yeah, you will. So don't worry about that yet. So everybody should be here though, right?
Yes, everybody's there.
Okay, awesome. So finally, our get articles route handler, all it's going to do is going to call get articles, and we're going to say dot then articles our response.json of articles. That is all we're doing here. So we are going to use our function to get the articles because it deals with the promise. Then res.json the articles. That is it. Yeah, Elaine, I just realized it's a challenge for you because you can't look up and see my screen. You have to.
Well, I've tried to split it at this point. I think I'm working okay now, but yeah.
You should just commandeered Ben's laptop.
Yeah, seriously. I'm not using it.
Okay, let me know when you guys are good here.
We are good here.
Okay, Elaine, are you good?
Yep.
Okay, I love it. So here, if we save this now, we are going to now test our code. And we're going to test this. When I say test, we're not touching the front end at all. We are just going to test this in the browser. So I'm going to go back to my blog here where we did our npm install everything, where our server-side code is. You know, we see our server.js. I'm going to run nodemon of server.js. And I run this, and I should see blog server listening. And now I should be able to go to localhost port 3000 whack API whack article. So if I go into a Chrome tab, I should be able to go localhost colon 8000 whack API whack articles, and I should see awesome. Get articles that then is not a function. Okay, so but I have something, so that's progress. So let me see where I screwed up here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing get articles, and I'm not calling it as a function. Okay. Sorry, guys. Line 32, I screwed that up. So we need the open close parentheses, right? Call it as a function. Seth, where were you?
Sorry, I'm just trying to help them.
Okay. So now, adding that, if we refresh this, I should see my list of articles. Okay, fantastic. So let's make sure everybody has this step here working.
Okay, hold on a second, sir.
I vaguely remember you saying, Sergi, that there's some kind of like plugin that makes it look like yours does.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, it's going to look like this,
Uh-huh.
and that's not fun. It is... I think it's called JSON Formatter.
Okay. Not a huge deal. I just
No, let me send that to you. I remember it is really stupid because you go to their like website. Okay, here we go. View in Chrome Store. Here, yep, JSON Formatter. Let me Slack this. For anyone that wants that, doesn't have that, it's very, very useful.
thank you.
Okay. Is everybody here though?
Yep.
Okay, Seth, you guys are good?
Not yet.
Okay, no problem. Need to see code or?
We're working on stuff.
Okay. Uh-oh.
But yeah. Okay, thank you. So yours, okay. Did you get yours working? Okay, so you're, okay.
We still have 3 steps to do, guys, so we're almost there. Seth, what's the problem? Uh-oh. Did Cheryl not create a brand new server.js?
Mine's working.
Okay, so Linda's okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I should look at the screen, huh? Okay.
There you go. Okay, we're good.
Yay. What was that? Just so everybody else can learn from Linda's mistakes.
Difficult. That's what it was.
It was what?
Require has a U in it. Just like.
Oh, yeah, well, English is hard. That's okay. I fat finger stuff all the time. And so everybody now can see articles, right? So we're going to do the same thing for article whack ID. So we're going to just go back into our article service, and we're going to make this get article function work the same way. So I'm going to copy it, Control C, and paste that right underneath my get articles inside of my server. So I paste it, and then I add my function keyword in front of it. So I'm going to try to go really slow here. So this here, nothing scary, nothing different. And then all I'm going to do is copy my route handler for my API whack articles. And I'm going to paste that. And I'm going to change my route to, instead of whack articles, it's going to be whack article : ID. And then my line 43, my get article is going to change to get article. And I'm going to use request.params.id. And then finally my .then, I'm going to change that from articles to article, and my res.json to article.
Give us a little bit.
Can you remind me what the rec params means? I mean, I'm assuming it means get ID. But
Yeah, it's our request. We have basically anytime we do a colon anything. So if I did a colon age, I could use rec.params.age. That's what names the parameter.
Okay.
99% of the time, you're only going to have like one parameter in there, and it'll always be ID. So just know that anytime you have a colon ID, that just means you're going to access it programmatically using rec.params.
Cool.
Okay. Seth, you guys good over there?
It's still working. Hold on a second.
Okay. Okay, how are we doing?
Almost there.
Okay. Elaine, are you good with yours?
Good. What should happen if I type that into the browser?
So the way you test it is if you go to whack article, whack whatever number, like if I do whack 1, I should get that first article by itself, not as an array, just as an actual object.
That's giving me a cannot get.
So API whack article, no S, right? Or you could do it articles, doesn't matter. Just make sure that matches up your route handler. So my line 42 says whack API whack article whack : ID. So make sure you have the same thing for your route handler.
I think that's my problem.
And then make sure you save it, and then you're using NodeMont, so it reloads automatically.
Oh yeah, it came up. I just had a missing whack.
Oh, okay. Those whacks are important. Okay. Let me see. Linda, how's yours?
I don't have it yet.
Well, this is really good, guys. We're doing this incrementally because I would have done like all 3 of these route handlers all at once, and it would have been, pandemonium. So what issue is Cheryl running into?
Getting a refuse to load the font with the carrots URL because it violates the following content security policy directive, blah, 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 blah.
I'm sorry, she's typing it into her browser. She's getting that?
Localhost 8000 whack articles whack, an ID.
Is that because of my front end?
But she shouldn't be using it, her friend in there.
Alright, I'm at localhost 8000. What do you?
Could you share her screen? That's...
Yeah.
Oh, she's not even connected. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see her URL. Articles whack. Well, okay, so go. Well, there's okay. Can't read property. That then I've undefined. So
Well, yeah, I understand that, but
okay, so that works. So now go to articles whack 1. So, but look here, Seth. Here's the problem. Her routes have whack API. Yours don't. So she has something else running on port 8000 then. So because I see a bunch of errors in there. So just be careful there.
wait, what?
Her route handlers have whack API in them, whack articles, but your route inside of Chrome doesn't. So make sure that that's actually the code that you're seeing.
This is not really.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is listen to a different port because I think she's running another server somewhere on port 8000.
Okay.
Cool. So now do articles whack. Yep. Okay, cool. So yeah, sure. Kill whatever other server's running because that's
I don't even know how to. You want me to just no kill all?
you won't be able to do that in Windows.
Cool.
Yep. So you have to just her VS Code. She has all those servers or those tabs running. You just got to find which one has it and kill it. So
Well, but I think the problem is she closed it off here, so I can't get to it. Is there a way to find it?
that's fine. It'll die itself whenever you restart the. Just change the line 10, the console.log, so it says 8001. So okay. So now the fun part. Okay, so Cheryl should be good now. So let's. I'm going to resume presenting here. Okay. Okay, finally. So we have this working. So what we need to do now, guys, is connect our front end to our back end. So we're going to use, essentially we can do this 2 ways. We'll use our, well, actually we shouldn't have to change our back end. Or we will. Okay. So I thought we could just use this with a, express.static, but we can't do that just yet. So we need to go back and start up our front end again. So if we go into our client directory, we can do, before we even do ng serve, we have to get our set up our proxy routes, right? So, and since Cheryl can't do that, we'll probably just enable cores for everybody to just get this to work, and then we'll change that around. It's actually easier with proxy route. We'll try, maybe it'll work this time on Cheryl's computer, we'll see. So, what we're gonna do, guys, is inside now our front end, we're gonna create right where our in the root of our client, we're gonna create a new file here, and it's gonna be called proxy-config.json. So, and this file here is going to, and actually I'm going to just copy this from our previous class, proxy-config.json. And here, I will actually just paste this into our Slack here. So, and Cheryl, yours isn't running on port 8000, so please, please, please remember changes to 8001. And then finally, inside of our package.json, inside of our client directory, inside of our blog, we're going to change this start script to say ng-serve --proxy-config is going to be proxy-config.json. Yes, that looks right. Let me check that really quick. Okay, we could do, sure, we'll do an equal sign. I don't think we actually need the equal sign. That's okay. So let's make sure everybody has this. Elaine, do you have this?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Just a second.
Let me just split screen this. So this is what our proxy config looks like. And then our package.json on our, inside of Angular, not our package.json for our server. So just don't get those two confused.
Yeah, the package.json that's in our client.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so, Linda, are you good?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Cheryl?
I'm trying to get the proxy config file.
Okay. Seth, don't spend too much time because the last time we could not get her proxy config working and we had to use cores for it, so give it one attempt. If it doesn't work, we'll use cores.
Okay.
But okay, so once you guys have this here, inside of our client directory, instead of ng-serve, we're going to run npm start. So instead of ng-serve, we're doing npm start because our npm start now, it is going to run ng-serve for us with this argument here, proxy config. So we could, if we really want to type ng-serve, we would type ng-serve, but we'd have to do this proxy config after it. So npm start is much shorter and easier, right? Okay, so this is running now on our local host, same thing, 4200. So if I open up localhost 4200, I should see all my same stuff, right? So now we have to get, and we can actually test our proxy. If we go to localhost 4200 whack API whack articles, we should see our list of articles. So if we see this, then we know that our proxy config is working.
Yeah, Sergey, on Cheryl's, it's the project proxy config.json does not support the serve target.
That's new. Does not support the serve target. What does that mean? Cheryl, could you share your screen? Let me see her package.json. Take out the spaces. There shouldn't be any spaces between the equals. Yeah, try that. Save that, and then rerun that. And that's just npm start. Yep. Okay. So it's okay. That looks promising.
That was so frustrating. I've spent 3 hours trying to figure out what it is wrong. I have to do all different steps. I'm getting an error that my articles aren't defined.
Oh, on your front end, that's okay because remember we pulled that out of the article service.
Okay.
That's okay.
I should just check for API. To make
Yep.
sure
Yeah. Just check like if you're 4200. Okay. Oh my gosh, is that?
It worked.
It worked.
Woohoo!
Praise Jesus. Okay. Wow. That is amazing. Okay. So. Okay. Fantastic. So here, let me go ahead and resume. Well, sure. That's super, super scary because that means just because it worked on its own, that means it's going to break on its own anytime too. So. Okay. So now that we have that working. So basically now we have. This is our backend server, right? Localhost 8000, our backend server is running, or 8001. But our front end is running here, and now we're proxying WAC API. Anything goes there, it will send it to our backend server. So I'm going to article WAC2, and it'll lead me to the same exact information, which is amazing. So now, let's go back and fix our front end. So now we have the proxying working. We are going to go and in our article service, we have to use something called HTTP client. So first thing is inside of our app module, we need to import HTTP client. So this is going to be import HTTP client, and this is going to be from @Angular WAC.com and WAC HTTP. Okay, yep, that's it. So go ahead, type that in, and then finally we're just going to add that to the imports HTTP client. Oh, I'm sorry, HTTP client module. I'm sorry, guys. HTTP client module is what we're importing. So line 4 and then line 29 are our two new chunks. Okay, is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So we're going to import that, and now I'm going to basically just copy this line here because inside of our article service, we need to import not HTTP client module, but just HTTP client. So, and again, I'm going to remove articles because that's what I told you guys to do earlier. I just didn't do it in mine. So, and now we have all these errors, right? So I'm going to remove. Well, that's fine. We'll leave that as is. But we're going to inject HTTP client into our constructor. So private, and I'm going to just call it HTTP. So we're going to inject that. And then finally, I'm going to basically get rid of all these bodies inside of get article, get articles, and save article, because we're not going to need any of that stuff. So this is what you guys should have. So it looks pretty bare bones, doesn't it?
Did I miss moving the save article to the back end?
Oh, we haven't. Oh, I suck. Yep. So, okay. Thank you. We have not moved that to the back end, so let's not delete that yet. Well, let's go ahead. If you guys are good, let's just move it now so we don't forget about it. Sorry, this is what happens when we're moving fast because we're running out of time. So, are you guys good? We're gonna move save article really quickly to the back end. Seth, are you guys paying attention over there? Okay, so we have our get articles, get article, and now I'm gonna just paste in save article, and I'm gonna add this function in front of it, and that's it. We're not gonna worry about creating the backend route for it just yet. But now we're going to jump back to our article service, and now, okay, and now we can erase all these. So, Elena, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so everybody's here, though, right?
Not yet. Hold on.
Okay. So, well, here we're just gonna basically just use this .http and do a .get, but here I'll wait so we're all on the same page. Excuse me. Seth, what are you guys stuck on?
We're getting there. I just have to move stuff around. Not as quick as you, sir. You can't move everything around.
The what? I'm sorry.
We're not as fast as moving stuff around as you. Okay. Is that okay? So we should just have blank over.
Okay. And Linda, you're good?
Yes.
Okay. Cheryl, you're good now?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So, our get articles, we're going to do this one first. We just need to make a back-end call, right? Because we can do this ourselves by just going to this URL, right? Whack API, whack article, whack 2. So, we just need to do that programmatically. And the way we're going to do that is this.http .get, and now I'm going to do whack API, whack article, whack, and then, actually, I'm sorry, just whack articles. And then this here is going to return something called an observable, which we don't want. So at the very end of this, I'm going to say to promise. And that's it. So if I save this, let me just go ahead and test this. I don't want you guys to do this just yet. But if I go back to here, just my article list, my homepage, this should... Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Actually, that should work. Hold on. What do we miss? Cool. I forgot the return keyword. So we need to return this.http.get. So let me test, make sure that works. Articles. Awesome. We see all of our articles from our backend. So, and you guys should see that this here is going to be the exact same pattern for, get the article details. So let me know when you guys are here and it works for just get articles. For article list, and then we'll go to get article.
Awesome, that's working for me.
Yay. Okay. So, Linda?
We're good here.
Yay. Okay. Awesome. So, our get article is going to be basically almost the same thing, but instead of API whack articles, we're going to do whack article plus the ID. And make sure you have that plus ID outside of the string. And some of you guys, your backend route is listening to whack articles, whack ID. That's totally okay. It doesn't matter. So on your server, if this has an S in it, obviously you're going to have the S on your front end as well. So just make sure they match up. And I'm going to save that. And if I go to my front end now, if I click on an article, I should get the data for it. So fantastic. I go back to articles, I click on one, I see my data. So really awesome. And let me know when everybody is good there.
Okay, something's not working for me on that.
Okay.
I have, let me see here.
Okay.
This is saying,
Elena, what's yours doing?
it says cannot match any routes.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
It says cannot match any routes.
So WAC API. So make sure that on your server,
Oh my
it's
gosh. Sorry, I didn't. Well, no, never mind. No.
we're good.
No, we're not.
Okay, so what does your backend route look like? WAC API, WAC article, WAC ID, or WAC colon ID, or is it articles WAC colon ID?
It's article WAC colon ID. And then I have article on my front end too.
Okay, so that should work. What error is it giving you if you actually try to pull up article?
So if I just, yeah, hang on. Says error uncaught in promise, error cannot match any routes, URL segment, article.
Oh, are you sure that you're doing, so your front end routes, you have WAC API, the WAC articles, and WAC API, WAC article, you know.
They're both article.
But you have WAC API inside there?
Uh-huh.
You want to screen share?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But your first one for your get articles, that should be plural, right? WAC articles.
Oh, for the first one.
Yeah, and the second one should be API WAC article, and then close the string, and then plus ID.
Yeah. I'm going to have to share my screen.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Something simple that I'm missing. Sorry.
It is okay.
Oh, I forgot, this is not working again.
Oh, it still doesn't want to share?
Yeah, let me just Slack it, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, Slack your service, and then Slack your server.js.
so this is in service.
Okay, that looks good.
And then that is in server.js.
So all that looks good, but does your list articles work? So if you go to your blog and go to articles, do you see the list of articles?
I did earlier. Let's see.
Check and make sure that still works.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, so if you click on one,
If I click on one, it works.
oh,
But if I went to, I think maybe I need to have it be articles,
No. So don't get confused with the URL up here, because if you actually click on one, then everything is working correctly.
Okay.
So yeah, if that works there, Elena, then you're good. Because if you just click on,
My URL, when I click on it, says articles instead of
yeah, and that's
articles.
totally fine because that's the front end route. Don't get confused there. That's why the back end I made that different, just so you guys don't get confused. But I guess it's still confusing.
Okay, so it's working.
Yeah, it's working as intended. Yep. Okay. And Seth,
Sorry.
no problem. You guys are good on that side, Seth? Maybe. Uh-oh.
Article service, it does the same article.
Seth, are you guys good?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So here, we're going to do the last thing is the save articles. So we're inside of our article service. I'm going to basically just copy this I'll copy the, get articles. And we're going to change this from this.hp.get to .post. And we are going to post API WAC article, and then I am going to go ahead and then for post, you have a second argument of whatever you're posting. We're going to post article. So this is what it looks like, and we haven't created our backend route for this yet, so don't try testing this yet, but let me know when you guys have this, and we'll create the backend.
I'm there.
Okay. Seth, let me know on your side when you're good.
I'll let you know in 1 second.
Okay, you guys good?
We're good, Turkey.
Okay, so now on our backend server side, we just need to add another route, but this is going to be a post route, right? So I'm going to just copy any one of these route handlers, and I'm going to say app.post whack API whack article, and then I'm going to change this to say save article of rec.body. And then, my dot then is not going to be articles, it's just going to be article of whatever one was saved. And that's it. So app.post whack API whack article, save article of rec.body, dot then article, res.json article.
So this should now be working like it was before.
Yep, exactly. So if we save this, Seth, let me know when you guys have this on your side.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay, so now if we test this, I should be able to. So the only difference is now when we edit one of these, my first server side change. Now, if I refresh the page, it will continue having them because my node server is storing them. So now it's persistent for clients. And, if I reload this multiple times, I'll have my changes. So basically our node application is saving it in memory now. So it's, technically a database, a really bad database. An array never makes a good database, but so everybody should have this where it saves your changes. Right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, Seth, are you good with yours?
Hold on, let's test a second.
I don't know why I have that error. Let me refresh this. Article list. Let me see why I have this error here inside of article list. Okay.
if you request it.
You guys might get an article list error. I had to add a colon any to this. Not sure if anyone else was getting this error here.
Yeah, I was. Article list.
Get some error.
Yeah, if you get an error, just add colon any to articles. Okay, we're almost done, guys. We have to add MongoDB support and then push this to Heroku. So
That's all.
I think we can do this pretty quick.
You can do it.
Okay, is everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, that was a yes?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Here, really quickly, one more thing is we want to be able to save this, or let's just do a git commit for it. But remember that our Git directory is actually inside of client. So if we won't be able to, if I do a git log here, this is my OK Coders log, but our blog is no longer a Git directory. So if you guys do a Git status inside of blog, it'll say not a Git repo, right? So all you have to do is inside of client, if you take your .git file and just move it into blog. That's all you have to do. And doing that is going to say a bunch of stuff got deleted, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. Actually, one more thing we're probably going to do is from client, take our .git ignore and move that into blog as well. So we're just going to move those two files. And we do a git status.
Can you go over that again, Sergi?
Yeah, so inside of our client directory, we're going to move the .git file and .git ignore file into blog. We're just going to move it up one directory. So the git directory and .git ignore file. We're just going to move them up. So that way we still have our history and all that fun stuff.
I thought I did a git commit earlier, but I'm not showing a git folder.
It's going to be, if you're on a Mac, it's going to be hidden, Elena, so you might have to show all files or in the command line, just move it. You might be better. So for yours, Elena, if you're in your blog directory, you can do mv client-.git and just do space period. This is going to say move the .git folder from client into my current directory of blog.
Okay.
And then do the same thing for .git ignore into the current directory.
Do Windows people have a .git?
It won't be hidden, so they'll be able to see it in Windows Explorer.
Oh, so you're gonna have to open your files and all that.
Yeah. Let me know when you guys have this moved over.
I think mine is all moved.
Yeah, so Elaine, if yours is working, you should do a git status, and you should see, do a git log, and you should see your part 1, part 2, or whatever commits you actually did.
Uh-huh.
So then I'm just going to do a git status is going to show a bunch of deleted stuff because everything got moved around. And we're just going to do a git add period. And this will basically, hold on. Don't do that yet. Let me see. Git status. I hope it doesn't try adding node modules. It shouldn't. Let me see. Oh, cool. That's unfortunate. Inside of our git ignore, we have to make one little change. It has node modules. It has a whack in front of it. We just have to get rid of that. Because otherwise it's going to try to commit all of your node modules, and we don't want that.
And how can I find that one or open that one up?
Oh, okay. So inside of your Atom, you should see node module, git ignore inside the root of your blog.
Yep.
Okay, so just remove the forward whack in front of node modules.
Sergi,
Yep.
I cannot find a git for Cheryl.
She might have not have committed. Or Cheryl, did you do well, go into her client directory and just do a git status or a git log and see if there's anything in there. If she didn't commit it, then we can just do a git init. Well, I guess I lied to you guys because I said you weren't going to learn anything new here, but I guess learning Git is a little bit new.
Yeah, she's got to get status in here.
Okay, so Windows Explorer is just hiding her Git directory. In Windows Explorer, I have no idea how you can get show hidden files. I don't remember off the top of my head. Try Alt period. Actually, yeah, I don't remember if that works in. I know that works in Linux. I think that might work in Windows Explorer too. I don't remember.
The term alt is not recognized.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Sergio, I hate to interrupt, but
Yep.
I have to run. I have to go to a wedding.
Oh, okay, well, okay, we're almost done. It sounds like I'll be making a video tomorrow, anyways, to finish pushing this. Okay, well, Linda, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So, thank you so much.
Hey, Seth, just if you can't find it, then just do a git init inside of her blog directory, and that's fine. We'll have two git directories. But make sure you create like a .gignor file and add node modules into it so she doesn't commit all that, because that's going to be horrific.
She had to get ignored, which was weird.
Okay, that's really strange. Unless one of her parent directories is a git repo, and that's why you can't find it.
I don't see one. But I don't even know how to edit this in Windows.
Can we cut Notepad?
Yeah, I mean, just open it up in VS Code or Atom or wherever she uses it and edit it in there.
So we add no modules to. Oh, and it's got dependencies. Whack no modules.
Yeah, so just remove the whack in front of that. So
Remove it.
yeah, remove the whack. Yep, because we want it to or ignore all node modules, not just the root node modules.
Okay, alright, it's done.
Okay, awesome. So finally, we can do a git add period, and just finally commit, and just do a git commit -m back end talking to front end, whatever comment you guys want to do, and it's gonna say just a bunch of stuff got renamed, totally fine. So okay. Oh wait, no, you're good with yours?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, and Seth, you guys are good.
What do you, whatever.
Well, really quick, Elena, while we're waiting for them, what was it? Our MLab. We're gonna go into MLab and we're going to create or use a database here. So, do you guys remember MLab?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's log in here. And I have OK Coders. Actually, I'll just use my OK Coders database. I'm totally fine with that. Oh, we have an articles collection. That's fine. I'll just use this. So this is how we can connect to it. So we have all of our information here. So Seth, let me know when you guys are ready. We're gonna add MongoDB support. So this should go pretty quick.
We're going to InLab now. It's InLab.com.
Remember, Cheryl, we did this for our MongoDB databases.
Somehow, but it's been a while.
Well, guys, all we have is 15 minutes. This is gonna be rushed. How about instead, because we're gonna rush through this and it's gonna be just frantic. How about I will just create a video just adding MLab support and then finally how to push this to Heroku. You guys prefer that instead? Good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, we'll just do that. And so I apologize. I was hoping we could fit everything into this class, and apparently not. So, but we're really, really close. Adding the database portion is gonna be really simple because all we're gonna do is change our backend server. We're just gonna change these three functions: our get articles, our get article, and our save article. And we're just going to define a schema, and that's it. Get rid of all the stuff here. So it's really straightforward. And then the Heroku piece, that's a little bit more involved. So me making a video, I think that would be good for that. But we're maybe 30 minutes from being done with this. So, and then that way, and that'll be perfect because you guys can push your projects to Heroku. It'll be using MLab, a real database, and then essentially I can look at it, grade you guys, and I know that all of you guys will do wonderful on it.
Hopefully.
Oh.
Would you recommend creating a new database then in MLab instead of our existing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that too because basically we already have like an articles collection and stuff. So instead of OK Coders, we'll probably create a new database for blog. So, and I'll walk you guys through that. So, and I won't have time today to upload the rest of this. I'll upload what we did in class, but I'll upload the video for this last piece tomorrow if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
And
I've got it in lab. I just got it, and I'm logged in. I can't remember how to do that.
yeah, it's okay. I'll give you guys instructions. One more thing. This is kind of weird because we're technically not done with class because we have this last little section that we're going to do, but I would also love your guys' feedback of how I did, how the course was, how what could have been done better, what you liked, what you hated. So yeah, I'd love any feedback. I'm sure that Susan will ask as well, so you can give feedback about me. If it's bad feedback, you don't want to give it to me, that's okay. Give it to her because I'm definitely not I'm a software developer. I'm not a teacher, so this is not something I do all the time. So I would love any constructive feedback and criticism that you guys have.
I appreciate you teaching the class, Sergi. I know that there's a lot that happened before this, so I just appreciate that you did this.
Yeah, me too.
I just want to let you know that.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys as students. You guys have been a really awesome class. So especially me doing this remote has been definitely rough. So, well, Elena, it wouldn't matter to you really. So, but
Yeah, it definitely is different. The remote. I mean, and obviously it's way better to. I love having the replays, but I don't love relying on them.
yeah, when you have to rely on it, that's not fun. Having it as a safety net, that's awesome. But
Yeah, but it's way better to join live.
okay, well, if anything else, we'll just cut class about 10 minutes early, and I'll go ahead and I'll commit I'll commit the stuff that. Actually, no, I'm not gonna commit this because that's gonna be your final project. Never mind. So I'm not gonna commit anything. I will upload the video from class today, and then tomorrow I'll upload one more video, and I'll probably upload a video and just an actual like homework.md or class.md or something onto GitHub, so you guys can copy paste things from there if that helps.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to make it look pretty. That's the fun
So
part.
you're going to show us how to create a new database.
Yep,
right?
I'll show you guys how to create a new database. We'll create our MongoDB or Mongoose models, and then basically getting all the articles from MongoDB, getting an article, and saving an article to MongoDB. So, and then finally the Heroku step. So you'll basically have this running locally with a live database, and then Heroku. Then you can have something like elena.herokuapp.com. That may or may not be taken. You might be more creative with the domain name, but so that'll be really fun.
Exciting.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and then tomorrow I'll post all this, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Thanks so much, Sergi.
Thank you guys. Bye.